So now we want to talk about molecules. Okay, we've talked about atoms and all of the smaller pieces that make up an atom. We've determined that atoms make up all matter. They are the building blocks, the very, very smallest pieces of matter. So what is a molecule? I'm sure we've all heard of a molecule. Talk about water molecules, things like that. We've all heard of a molecule. Well, a molecule is a particle of matter that is made up of two or more atoms bonded together. Two or more atoms bonded together. Okay, you can see here, once again, a water molecule. Water molecule, you can see that there is a hydrogen here, and an oxygen. We've all heard of H2O, that is water, but maybe you didn't know why it's called H2O. Well, it's called H2O because there are two hydrogens. Okay, the H represents hydrogen, and then you have a subscript of 2, which tells you there are 2 hydrogen atoms in a water molecule. And then here you have the oxygen, one oxygen atom in a water molecule. So this molecule is made up of 3 atoms, and you can see that better in this picture. Here's your hydrogen. Here's another hydrogen, and then here is your oxygen. If you remember, I told you electrons were important because they determine how atoms react with other atoms. And you can see that the electrons are how these atoms are attached to each other. Okay, those are how they bond or attach themselves to each other or other atoms. So once again, molecule, 2 or more atoms bonded together. This is a water molecule. You can see the 2 hydrogens. You can see them bonded to the oxygen. All right, so what about molecules, right? Once again, multi-atom particles. It's a particle made up of more than one atom. Okay, so when you're talking about different substances, so we're talking about water, maybe we're talking about salt, maybe you're talking about anything. A molecule is the smallest particle of any substance that's made up of 2 or more atoms. So a substance that's not made up of 2 or more atoms must be made up of only one atom, which is an atom. It's the smallest particle there is, right? But a molecule is the smallest piece of a multi-atom thing that still is that thing. So the smallest piece of water is the water molecule. Only has 3 atoms, but it's still the smallest piece of water that still is water. It still is slightly wet. It has all of the characteristics of water, but it's the very, very smallest piece that you could possibly have of water. Okay, you have a molecule. Can it get any smaller? Absolutely not. If you make that molecule smaller, what you've done is you separated the hydrogens and the oxygen, and then it's no longer water, then it's just hydrogens and oxygens kind of floating out there, on their own. When they're together, that is a molecule of water, and that is the smallest piece of water that you can get. Okay, some molecules can be made up of only 2 atoms. Sometimes it's the same atom, and sometimes it's different atoms. Okay, here is a molecule of oxygen. It's written O2 because the subscript, once again, 2 tells you that there are 2 oxygen atoms in one molecule of oxygen. It's kind of different. Okay, you want to be sure that you pay attention to what the words are, what's being said when you're referring to oxygen. Yes, you can refer to an oxygen atom, which is only one little piece, one little atom of oxygen, or you can refer to an oxygen molecule, which is 2 oxygen atoms together, bonded together. Okay, usually in nature, oxygen occurs in molecular form. It occurs, it's a molecule in nature generally. It does not usually happen that oxygen is by itself as an atom. It is almost always bonded together with another atom of some sort. In this case, you have a molecule of oxygen, 2 atoms bonded together. You can also have 2 different atoms. Right here we have Na, which stands for sodium, and you have Cl, which stands for chlorine. So you have NaCl, which is called sodium chloride. But we may know this as table salt. That's right, the salt that you use to flavor your food is table salt. It is a molecule of sodium chloride. Okay, molecules can also be made of many atoms, many atoms. Right here, you've heard of glucose. You've absolutely heard of glucose, C6H12O6. It is part of the way plants produce their food. You've learned this in life science. Okay, this is made up obviously of many atoms. You can see all those atoms there. C6, once again, the 6 subscript means that there are 6 carbons. You can count them: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. H12, which means there are, that's right, 12 hydrogens. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And once again, we have that oxygen guy back. That's 6 oxygens here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is a molecule of glucose, and it has many atoms. That is all, folks. I hope you enjoyed your first homework assignment, your first presentation. I can't wait to get into the classroom and work with you.